G'day friends and fans, welcome to Dave Talk Stuff. Why feminists love Marxism. Orwell summed it up quite well. In George Orwell's 1984, George, aka Eric Blair, wrote, "Young women are depicted as the most ardent, unquestioning supporters of the party, serving as zealots, swallowers of slogans and amorous spies, bigoted adherents." Yes, they are bigoted against men. They are acting in self-interest, in that they want you to be their slave. And they use heavily coded language so that you don't understand from the beginning what they're talking about. So it does come across as nonsense, but it is actually a whole bunch of slogans and a big lie about the origin of the family. This family existed long before capitalism. In fact, Karl Marx was a capitalist. Did you know that? He sold books. Now, he's also a misogynist. He did not start the union movement. He took over the Irish working men's club and turned it into the international men's club. Now, with the help of American, he did take it international, leading to the formation of the Teamsters. And ironically, Marx was born in England in a commie plot that you can spend a tenner to go see. Yeah, so don't piss on his grave because it's guarded. Yeah. Meanwhile, the American founder of the Teamsters and organised labour is actually buried in the Red Square in Heroes of the Revolution. Yeah, so it's a commie plot, I tell you. But why do women, particularly young women? Well, because they're immature, are they not? They want Big Daddy to take care of them. They don't want to work hard. They want to sit around all day and debate Marxism and make TikTok videos and wear expensive jewelry and septum rings and engage in non-monogamous relationships. And pretty much lecture you on why you're a filthy prog.
You're right to say that Marx did not come up with a systematic theory.
Wrong. Which Marx? There's Karl Marx and there's Eleanor Marx. Eleanor Marx came up with a systematic theory on labour and gender based on her father's writings after her father died. And we're going to hear a lot of, shall we say, baloney from Ms. Septum Ring here.
Of gender in relation to capitalism, but
it's always the capitalism, the boogeyman, I tell you. Yet capitalism is merely a broad economic theory. We do not live in a capitalist society. We live in a free market society. There is a difference. Although it's not a free market, it's government controlled. So, yeah, we live in a quasi-socialist system, believe it or not.
he really effectively set up the possibility for it.
No, he didn't. Marxism was almost dead until the Russian Revolution, and if it wasn't for the American labor movement, the Russian Revolution would have failed. The millions of dollars in arms and supplies from the socialists of America, effectively. Though it led to the alienation of Trotsky because he was a little too close to the West, and his eventual murder by Stalin. No, Stalin murdered many people. He didn't do it personally. But already we're off to a bad start with communism, right? It's all envy, greed, and we're going to see a lot of envy for her and a lot of stupidity.
Existence, hence why we call it Marxist feminism. So,
straight up, right? It's Marxist feminism. Yeah, from from Vogel and Engels and from Eleanor Marx after Karl Marx's death in 1883, March 14th, the only contribution to humanity that he truly... And if you look at a lot of things attributed to Marx, it's actually Friedrichs and Engels after Marx's death, and many others. Marx was a grifter. He would organise labour to picket factories unless they hired organised labour. So yeah, it was a bully and shakedown. Hire us, pay us higher wages, or we'll destroy your factory. Yeah. Now you may make the argument about living wage, but there are proper methods of, even back then, in the legal system. And if they did it, you can withhold labour. You have the right to withhold labour. You don't have the right to make threats, though. And this is the difference. Marxism is all about the threats.
I'm going to read a quote actually from Capital Volume 1 talking about the productive forces or women's and children's entry into factory work.
Oh, yeah. Women and children actually rarely worked in factories. That's a Marxist myth created primarily. Yeah, men did bring their sons to work when they were older, but no. Supposedly, most women did not enter factories. This is what Marxists do. They create a false history of exaggerated oppressions, and you can see she's got a nervous tic when she lies, and there's going to be a lot of lying. She just can't face the camera, probably autistic. But yeah, they want to disrupt the system. Why? Well, blackmail. You disrupt the system, and we'll keep disrupting the system because you can't do anything to us, so we're going to keep doing it until you give us all give in to our demands. That's the problem with Marxism. It relies on society doing effectively any action you can take against them is criminalised or neutralised by the courts.
Was disrupting the kin-based working class family.
So she recognises that working class families, she doesn't recognise anything else because that's all you are to her is you work, you provide so that I can debate Marx.
And the ability to reproduce labor power.
That's how countries survive, you imbecile. But she's a child and has the mentality of a child, so the idea of sex and reproduction to her is tee-hee sex.
Or through subsistence work because the family unit was all entering wage work.
It's always been throughout history. It's called, you don't work, you don't eat. Okay?
So he writes, since certain family functions, such as nursing and suckling, cannot be entirely suppressed.
What?
Emotional damage.
Again, unswallowers of slogans.
The mother's confiscated by capital.
Mothers confiscated by capital. What? Where? Can you prove... Are these mothers in the room right now?
Must try substitutes of some sort.
What sort of substitutes? You're talking about substitutes for labour? She's just spitting... This is garbage. And this is just slogans. And they're going to say, oh, you're just too dumb to get it. No, I get it. Okay? They're, in a roundabout way, using coded language, saying that women are oppressed by men reproducing with them because they'll take their children off them because there's no other substitute for labour. Right? There's no substitute for motherhood. So you're oppressed.
Domestic work, such as sewing and mending, must be replaced by the purchase of ready-made articles.
But who makes those ready-made articles? If women aren't making them, then men are making them. And that means you want men to be your slave. And that's where we get to the heart of Marxism.
It's The Royal Order of Sour Grapes for having a raisin for a brain.
Hence, the diminished expenditure of labor in the house is accompanied by an increased expenditure of money outside. The cost of production of the working class family therefore increases and balances its greater income. In addition to this, economy and judgment in the consumption and preparation of the means of subsistence becomes impossible.
Claiming that it's a long-winded way of saying factories drive up the cost of living because of the lack of farm labour. So they all want you to be dirt poor farmers while they languish in their luxury country mansions.
So Marx here is actually noting that the reproduction of labor power
come from women! Yay! Congratulations! You figure out where babies come from.
Is a biological gender.
No kidding! A biological gender process. That's a lot of, talk about butchering the English language. Just say what you mean. Use proper words. Gendered process. Talk about, I am an intellectual. I am... Oh, yes. You're about as intellectual as a fart in the elevator.
Process. So he attributes the domestic work to women here.
So Marx said, make me a sandwich. Well, that's true. He enslaved a woman, had raped her, allegedly, and then had Eleanor, who later took over Marxism and took out her anger and frustrations on her father, like so many of these young women who didn't get a pony growing up.
And he acknowledges that this is crucial for the reproduction of the working class.
No kidding! We're not machines. We're people. People need biological processes to reproduce. Oh my God, she's a genius, everyone. Everybody, clap at the trained seals spewing slogans.
And also noting that the entry into wage work of the women and children makes the...
Wait! You demand entry! Not forced entry, you demanded it!
means of subsistence.
Subsistence! So, I don't see women and children farming. I see men farming, lady. You imbecile.
Impossible. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I gotcha. So, yeah. You can't debate me, so, yeah. Well, that's what it is, isn't it?
Marx also writes more on this with Engels in the German ideology. You can also find more quotes aligned.
He didn't write more on it. German ideology came first. Das Kapital is his later works, compiled from previous works when he was in England. And he sold his book for profit, lady. He was a bigger case, just like Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, good communist, like his idol Karl Marx. I sell a book and make lots of money, and I live in a big luxury home with servants.
And with this sentiment throughout Capital Volume 1, and of course Engels and the origin of the family and private property.
It's complete bullshit, right? Private property is a human right. Throughout history, people have plotted land, worked the land, therefore they have the right to that land. Otherwise, remember, Marxists claim to support land rights for natives, except when they're English.
That's kind of one of the, OG Marxist feminist texts.
Oh, how 90210. Well, look at me, I can say OG. OG, man, that was so overrated in the 90s. What's your professor, a boomer?
Marx's daughter, Eleanor Marx, actually wrote quite a bit on the woman question.
Duh! She's a feminist icon. She helped transform Marxism into feminism. Along with others. But which, of course, there's a photo of Ho Chi Minh with many socialist leaders, including the German Chancellor, was in Vietnam. I think there's only a few copies left. I think it's in the Hall of Socialism in Lenin, in Lenin's mausoleum, I think.
So, yeah, Marx did not come up with a, systematic theory of gender and
No, it was... Which one? Karl didn't. Eleanor did.
relation to capitalism.
But it's all bullshit. Capitalism is totally misrepresented. If you look at capitalism, right? If you sell goods for the cost of production, right? Or the cost of materials even, or trade them for volumetric value, how are you going to save for retirement? How are you going to pay all your bills? You have to produce more and more, so you have to overproduce and overconsume in order to meet Marxist goals. That's why the world overproduces, because we undervalue. We undervalue books. We undervalue art. I'm talking about real artists here, not your bozo corporates who are overvalued. So, like, in order to balance the system to make a profit, we overvalue the mass-produced and undervalue the human production. So the human production cannot compete. Right? Your corporate... people will pay anywhere from $350 to $2,000 for a Taylor Swift concert, yet you can buy recordings for much less. But no, they want to scream and be part of the movement. This is the problem: overproduction and overvaluing. And again, it's young women falling for the slogans, is it not?
But people have done it since, drawing directly from capital. So that's...
Yeah, no socialist country has existed. Why? Because they collapse. They all realise if we don't make a profit, we end up like China or North Korea, bankrupt. And how many subsistent countries out there? 20, 30, all on social welfare, basically foreign aid, trillions of dollars every year wasted, keeping people alive who refuse to produce anything of value. Refuse to produce anything of value.
That's why we call it Marxist feminism.
Emotional, damn it!
Which is it? Which is it, ladies? Is it Marxist feminism because a woman wrote about it? Or is it Marxist feminism because there's gendered language? Or it's Marxist feminism because,
Lise Vogel's Marxism...
Oh, because Lise Vogel's writings, okay, of the oppression of women. Because she hasn't got any, yeah, she's totally unbiased, right? Totally unbiased.
Oppression of women is probably the most, theoretically tight version.
Well, theoretically tight. In other words, it's troglodyte tripe, which confuses most people, and she can point to them and say, oh, you just don't get it because you're dumb. Right? This is the most common socialist argument. You just don't get it.
This, as she draws directly from Capital Volume.
Yeah, so she plagiarises Capital Volume 1, throws in some pronouns and says, we're oppressed! And all the women go, yay, now give us free healthcare, free everything. And that's what it comes down to. Marxism about the enslavement of men. And do we need to continue? No. She repeats herself ad nauseum about Marxism, feminism, gendered language, reproduction, misogyny, the family, It's absolutely delusional. So...
Shut up!
Oops. So, yeah, women like free stuff. What a shock. They like to claim victimhood. What a shock. Septum ring theory confirmed, right? But oppressors, You know, big pity part. Oh, I'm oppressed. Give me everything I want. I'm a child. Tee-hee sex. Oh, I can't have a child. That's oppression. So, yeah. I can't get married. That's oppression. I don't want to be in a monogamous relationship. That's oppression. So, everything to her is... Everything she does... Anything that threatens her luxury lifestyle is an oppression. And, of course, that includes... Oh, I don't want to live in poverty. Well, then work. No, they can't have that. And of course, feminists, they pretty much a huge grift of selling books, whether it's selling Marx, selling Vogel, Engels, Friedrichs, Jane Fonda, a whole list, right? And yet none of them can sit down, create a society that's functional, and say, look everyone, look what we made. No. They force their ideas on you and then force you to work to support them. That's it. Full stop. That's all Marxism is. Slavery. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please support the channel. You support me on Ko-Fi, Patreon, buy my books, buy my merch. I appreciate each and every one of you. See you in the next video. Bye for now.